Dear student, this is our lecture number 2 of the series of grounded theory research. I'm Dr. Ayaz Muhammad Khan, Director Division of Education, University of Education, Lahore. As per the agenda, in our today's lecture, which is part 1, we'll be studying what do we mean by grounded theory and rather what is theory as well. And then we'll discuss about the types of grounded theory research. Is it a method or a theory? And then challenges that are faced while conducting this theory. Then merits and demerits. And ultimately, I'll show you some of the suggested readings that would increase your exposure towards grounded theory research. Our second part would comprise of data collection methods in grounded theory, a validity process of grounded theory, and we would discuss about theoretical sampling, note taking, and different things like that in grounded theory research. Whereas in the lecture part 3, we would be discussing data analysis in grounded theory, and this is the only research type which has given a comprehensive data analysis strategy. And because of this data analysis strategies, many IT specialist has developed software for analysis. Then we'll also study memo-writing, constant comparison method, which is very important in this research, and data saturation, and ultimately we would finish with some of the important studies that have been conducted in this field. So let's start. Dear students, in grounded theory, the theory is generated only from the data collected in the study, not come from other sources like textbooks and researchers' opinion, etc. Now, just look at the methodology. Whenever we conduct a study, the very first thing that we do is to select a research paradigm. So, you see, it is either interpretivism or social constructivism. Our methodology is qualitative. Method, you will be choosing grounded theory. But design, in the previous lecture, we have already gone through that. There are three basic designs: Straussian design, GT design, and Glasserian GT design, and Charmas GT design. Though there are two more designs that has been described by Charmas in her book of 2019. We'll discuss it in the later part. Then we have got sampling procedure. Though we use the word participants, but here the sampling technique is special one, which we call participants, purposive or theoretical sampling. You got to listen that theoretical sampling very carefully. Then our data collection and validity, we collect our data through three sources: interviews, observations, and document analysis. So their theoretical validity, their generalizability validity, and interpretive validity need to be catered. Dear students, Anthony Bryant and Cathay Charmas in 2019, in their famous book, gave methods of grounded theory. I mean, initially, up till 2017, we used to believe that there were three major approaches or methods of grounded theory, but in their book they gave away five, and we will talk about one by one. The very first one was Glasser and Strauss. I told you that in 1967, this is called as classical Glasser and Strauss work. So they were initially objectivist, realist, and approach to coding was simply they used to make comparison incidents to incidents, and then they limit theory to certain incidents and properties. But when it came to Glasser, who departed from Strauss, so he gave the idea of theoretical sensitivity. And you know, in the previous lecture, I told you his famous quote of all is data. So when all is data, it means his theory was objectivist, realist, and positivist as well, whether it is quantitative or qualitative. And he wouldn't go that much deep into minute details like Strauss and Corbin would go. I mean, his coding was simple open coding, selective coding, and theoretical coding, and they used to do it line by line. Then came Strauss and Corbin, and I told you that this is the largest school of grounded theory network. Uh, they added a thing which we call interpretive. I mean, though they were objectivist, realist, but they were interpretivist as well. But they used to use very extensive coding mechanism, open coding, axial coding, selective coding, and then they would go for if somebody asked me what sort of analytical tools they use to entertain, so conditional matrix, paragraph by paragraph, then phrase by phrase, then line by line. So as compared to Glasser, they used to go to the very micro level of coding. Then came Charmaz and Bryant in 2017, and they gave their constructivist interpretivist approach. Now, what was that constructivist interpretivist approach? I just want you to recall that interpretivism, which means that individuals are unique in their interpretations of events and cannot be studied scientifically with objectivity lens. I mean, they would go for subjectivity. They believe different people would react differently to the same event. But if we look at constructivist approach, a constructivist used to argue that human beings construct their own social realities in relation to one another. Reality is made by people in social ways. It is a product of mutual understanding, and they used to believe in subjectivity. So now you can see that Charmas and Bryant, whether it is constructivist, interpretivist, they both believed in subjectivity rather than objectivist view of all the previous one. And if you look at their coding style, they would go for initial coding, open coding, focus coding, varied coding, used to develop different strategies, and then theoretical coding. And ultimately, you would see they would also go to the micro level, line by line, word by word. Then came Clark. His theory was quite interesting one, a little bit different from the earlier interpretivist, situationist, constructivist. Very much close to Charmas, but situation was a key factor in Clark's uh, way of grounded theory. His, if you just look at the type of coding, you would see very much similar to Charmas or Strauss, but they added a new thing, which was social words arenas mapping, positional mapping. I mean, what is the context behind it? They used to focus much on the situations. So they would also go to micro level, word by word, and segment by segment. So here are four grounded theory designs which we have already discussed in the previous slide, but here uh, the coding mechanism is given. You would see the Glasserian and Strauss 1967, which was not that much extensive, but then Strauss and Corbin was that much extensive, and this is nowadays most widely used. If you have objective or positivist paradigm, though this is qualitative in nature and little bit interpretivism as well. But when we look at Charmas, which is purely constructivist, and you would see that the focus is on the construction of ideas, and ultimately the whole theory is grounded on the constructivist paradigm. Then last but not the least, Biggs and Mills, they have also given, if you just look all these, you would explore many things which are common. They adopt a route to develop a theory, but the way they reach to the theory is a little bit different. Now let's discuss method of grounded theory on the basis of five areas of choices. The very first one is philosophy, second is focus, third is research context, fourth is analytical style, and the fifth one is utility. So we'll be comparing actually three: the Glasser, the Strathen-Corbin, and Chalmers. So when we look at the philosophy, we see Glasser believes that researchers' influence and values are denied. Researchers remain objective. But when you look at Strathen-Corbin, they actually recognize those researchers' influence and values. But in the case of Chalmers, they actually acknowledge it. When you look at the focus, Glasser focus on developing grounded theory that accounts for all data. All is data. You have heard that thing. But Strathen-Corbin, they deviated from it and said developing well-organized and detailed grounded theory. I told you that they used the most extensive way of developing a theory. Simple coding, axial coding, and then categories, and then they go into the depth of the things. And Chalmers, as we have already discussed, that co-constructing theoretical understanding of the people's experience and their interpretation. When we look at the research context, Glasser used to disregard scholarly discourses, but Strathen-Corbin would emphasize on scholarly discourse, but they used to think that that should be selective one. Chalmers used to attend to scholarly discourse, aim to explore local issues for local context. But as being constructivist, they would see everything in the context of event. When we look at analytical style, Glasser used to adopt a passive style of attending to emerging data. Constant comparison of a core category, inductive approach, open and selective coding they used to do. But in Strathen-Corbin, as we have discussed earlier, that they went deep into the micro-analysis. Constant comparison would select a central category, then inductive, deductive reasoning. They used to use both approaches, open, Excel, and selective coding. But here, when you would see in Chalmers, very much close to the Strathen-Corbin, but the most important thing was actually the construction of idea in a particular background. So far as utility is concerned, Glasser used to believe that it is appropriate to develop broader theory across substantive areas. Whereas Strathen-Corbin would believe that it is appropriate to account for a wide range of variables. So they used to go vertically as well as horizontally. And Chalmers appropriate to develop a theory with full breadth and depth of, and as I told you, that constructivist paradigm. Grounded theory sampling. Grounded theory is very famous for theoretical sampling. Actually, it was based on concept. That is why it was called as theoretical sampling. And what sort of concept? Representativeness and consistency. The data you are collecting through observation, interviews, visual materials, and reviews which you have got. So what you would do, you would go for open coding, and your open coding was very much based on conceptual labeling and categorizing. And then you would go for axial coding and selective coding, and while doing that, you would constantly be going through constant comparison method. What does it mean? That you would compare different incidents, data to data, data to theory, theory to theory, or incident to incident, and ultimately you would move to the theory, and you would acquire that conceptual details and the foundation on which you could lay down your theory. So let's talk about grounded theory process. So what do? You go for interview, collect the data, and how do you go for interview? I have already told you that you got to be very careful while selecting your participant. the if you select the participant who are more exposed to those things, more vocal, they would be able to tell you more thing, and lot of thing depends upon you as well, because being researcher, you are the key instrument. If you do not probe deep into the things, you won't be able to come out with good things. So once you do all those interviews, you transcribe those interviews, and then you start doing coding. And for coding purpose, you can also use NVivo. That is very good software. And then while coding the data, field nodes, tree nodes, and substantive codings, selective codings, and theoretical coding, constant comparison, all these things go side by side. So when we look at data collection tools, after interview we have got that observation. So the more keen observer you are, the more minute details you would bring up. And lot depends on the way you observe the things. And for researcher, as data collection tool, you are the most important person in your research. Now let's see, what does this theoretical sampling means. Actually, the process of data collection for generating theory, whereby the analyst, like you who are the researcher, jointly collects codes and analyzes his data and decides what data to collect next and where to find them in order to develop his theory as it emerges. So theoretical sampling, you have already collected the data, and then you decide that what sort of data you are supposed to collect and to whom would you get that data. This is called as theoretical sampling. So sampling, you can say that sampling through theoretical sampling you do until you have theoretical saturation, which means every new interview doesn't add to already developed concepts. Dear students, I would request you to listen to this 7 minutes video on theoretical sampling. They have proposed certain examples as well. So just go to that link and watch it, and then come back and discuss it with me. Mind it, I would be asking you about memo-writing, theoretical saturation, side by side with theoretical sampling. Here I have given you a difference between Strauss and Corbin's 1998 way of uh, coding and Charma's in 2006. So you would see that more steps are involved by Strauss and Corbin, as they use extensive coding techniques. So if you just look at the steps, so open, axial, selective, and uh, you reach to grounded theories. But Charmas would go for initial coding, focused coding. They would not go for axial or selective, and right away they would go to grounded theories. So during that procedure, they would go for saturation as well as constant comparison method, so that they may come up with solid grounds or fundamentals on which theory can be laid. So here are some of the steps for theoretical sampling. So what you do, you initially, after transcribing the data, go for open coding. And what do you do that during that open coding, you go for constant comparison method and memoing. What is this constant comparison method? We'll discuss it. That researcher constantly compares the data to the categories to determine the consistency in coding, whether the coding which you are developing are right or not. So what do? You go for data, go for more interviews, then develop categories, themes, or variables, and then you go for core themes. But in the second phase, when you go for selecting selective coding or constant comparison method and memoing, that you keep on doing with open coding as well as selective coding. So you go for some more interviews and try to get saturation and go for core categories, and ultimately that leads to theoretical coding, which is very you ultimately reach to the basic social process and theoretical model. And this is the theoretical model, you give the foundation on which the whole model is laid down. Let's talk about advantages of theoretical sampling. The first one is the possibility to strengthen the rigor of the study. I mean, the more and more participants you get to strengthen your theory, the better it would become. So the application of the theoretical sampling method can provide a certain structure to data collection and data analysis processes, thus addressing one of the main disadvantage of qualitative method that relate to lack of structure. But here you keep on following your participants who could add to your theory. This type of sampling usually integrates both inductive and deductive. I mean, you apply both research approaches, but the purpose is ultimately to go for a qualitative uh, theory construction. What are the disadvantages of theoretical sampling? Because it is a highly systematic process, application of theoretical sampling method may require more resources such as time, money. I mean, if you are a PhD or MPhil students, the most important thing that matters you a lot is the time and the money. There are not clear processes or guidelines related to the application of theoretical sampling in practice. Yes, that's okay. I mean, even you would be confused, but when you would go to the field, you would come up to the different meanings of theoretical sampling. Overall, theoretical sampling is the most complicated than other sampling method. There is no doubt in it. This YouTube video would show you the processes involved in conducting grounded theory research, which I have already taught you, but once you would listen to it, most of your ideas would get more clarity. So just get to it, listen to it very carefully, and do write down your questions so that I may answer it at the end. What do we mean by field notes and memo writing? Field notes refer to qualitative notes recorded by scientists or researchers in the course of field research during or after their observation of a specific phenomena they are studying. So, both of the things you do, especially the field notes, while you are conducting your research, while you are in the field, gathering your data, conducting interviews, etc. The notes are intended to be read as evidence that gives meaning and aids to the understanding of phenomena. Field notes are usually taken during observation and research. What are memos? Memos tie data together actually. Memo writing actually tie different data while you are in a process of collecting data or analyzing data. So you can tie one idea with the other, one concept with the other, and this is what you do through memos. So ongoing explain concept that appear in data, a quick way to capture thoughts tied to the emerging theory. Uh, when you write about anything that the researcher thinks it is important, this is called as actually memos. The researcher makes memos to themselves about how categories beginning to explain the process. Dear students, here is a brief video. This video will help you a lot in understanding that how to conduct an interview. What should be your way of conducting it? What sort of gestures you should show, and how to make eye contact, how to give immediacy so that you may have a good interview. Similarly, how to probe, the probing mechanism. So here is task one for you. What you are supposed to do. A particular school has 550 female students and 590 male students. A random sample of 30 students was surveyed for suggestions about social activities for the following school year. Is it possible that the sample include only male students? Or would a sample consisting entirely of male students be representative of the school population? Explain your answer with reasoning. You got to just write it and send it through your SMS. So, dear students, what you have to do in task 2, visit the dashboard, the link which I have given you. Uh, Sample record of a grounded theory research and select 20 abstracts of your own choices. Make a report on participant selection in each study you have selected. Submit me that thing before next class. Just go through that link and most of the things would be exposed to you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for listening me so patiently. The last one, the last slide after that is just a glimpse of the whole situation. I'm sure that you are enjoying those lectures, though they are very hectic, but I'm sure that the more the question you would ask, the more clarity you would get. Thank you very much, students.